Hello everybody and welcome to Front Row Racing on this Sunday evening. It's time for the Front Row Racing ProjectCARS Season 5, Round 3 from the Donington Park National Circuit, which is the shorter version of the track, and we'll come on to some track details a little later on because I'm Front Row Racing DP. Joining me in the commentary box is going to be Front Row Racing JS, but he's a little busy at the moment sending out a few invites to the drivers. We are running a little bit behind schedule this evening. That's because James went out for a big family dinner. He's gone and filled himself up once again. So if he disappears halfway through the broadcast, we know why. Obviously a little too much gravy in his dinner. But we will hear from him fairly soon as he stopped giggling to himself in the background. And I also want to mention as well that I'm going to try and put a link to the current driver standings in the description on the video on the broadcast. So in the description in a few moments time, hopefully there will be a link to the standings, so for anybody that wants to have a look at what the current standings are before this event, they should be able to do so by clicking on that link. I will go through the standings in a moment, but as I mentioned, we are at the Donington Park National Circuit. And I've brought a bit of a question of the day. I mean, that's something that we do at Front Row Racing on our live streams. We have a question of the day, and you're more than welcome to have a good attempt at a guess of the answer. The only thing we ask is that you don't go Googling it, because that would just be cheating. So bear with me a moment and I will go through that particular question. And I haven't even told James what the question of the day is, and there's kind of a two-part to it. So just let me share the link in the description, which I think I have done now, hopefully. We'll see if that saves. No, in my luck it won't, but there we go. Right, Donington Park, round 2. James, are you with us? Have we got the drivers coming in?
Drivers are on their way, hopefully.
Okay, fantastic. Question of the day then. Are you ready for this then, James?
Aye, I'm ready.
When was the first race at Donington Park?
Ooh. First ever anything or Formula 1?
First ever anything.
I'd probably say, I might be completely wrong, I'd probably say early 70s.
Oh, it's a good guess. I'm going to say not quite right though. It's not the early 70s. However, we'll see what answers we get coming throughout the course of the event. Now, the event does include the Mercedes DTM GT3, not GT3, TC3. Fantastic car, James. The drivers have been enjoying it. Have they been giving you any particular feedback about the car, about the track?
No, they've just been telling me about how much fun they've been having, and I think we heard in the after-race comments from the podium drivers from last week's feature race how much fun they were having. Even if they were just fighting for third place, they were just having so much fun, so that's good to hear.
Yep. Okay, so I'm just having a quick look at YouTube, trying to get a link into the description, which unfortunately is not quite working for me properly, but we'll see how we get on. I have put it into the comments, so anyone that wants to have a look at what the current driver standings are, they are more than welcome to click on the link I've put in the comments, and after the event I will put it in the description again, but we will go through the standings in 2 moments. Apologies for this, folks. I'm just trying something new, and unfortunately it's not quite working, but it does give the drivers plenty of time to get themselves set up in the car. Now, the format we've got for this evening is a sprint race, which is a random grid. It'll be a 7-lap sprint race around the Donington Park circuit, so it's going to be absolutely mental, hell for leather, absolutely go for it. And then after those 7 laps there will be a qualifying session of 10 minutes and then a feature race, which I believe is 38 laps, James?
Yes, I believe so. Just double check on that. But the drivers have also been told, I think we may have had a slight issue last week where the sprint race started. We both jumped out of the way, and I think a driver was not anticipating for us to jump out of the way, drove off the circuit to try and avoid a collision, even though we disappeared. And as they came on, they created a collision. So the drivers have been informed that if they start the race behind the commentary team, to either take evasive action or we will be jumping out of the way within half a tenth.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that hopefully on Project Cars 2 they'll have fixed. And from what you've been seeing, James, about Project Cars 2, it does look like there's a whole new sort of broadcaster mode to it. I mean, with the basic things of, from a broadcasting point of view, we don't want to be on the track in any way, shape or form, do we? Because if there is any chance of our cars putting somebody off or causing a crash, then it's not ideal. And I think it's right that Project Cars make that step, and hopefully other games will do similar, especially on the PlayStation 4. Okay, so I said I'd mention the drivers' standings. I'm going to quickly go through those while James is finishing off making sure the drivers are in with us. So after round 2, the sprint race there and the featured race there, the current standings are as follows. Michelin Man leading the way on 70 points with Dave the Harp on 55. K-Slay 1 on 54 points and GBM Oldman on 36. Hesselden, he's got 31 points. GT Gavin 2 has got 25 points. MLT Dot has got 22 points, and he's closely followed by Jason on 18. Kulu Kutu on 17, and he's joined on 17 by GBM Vectra. And Dan Evs is on 15 points, but he still hasn't got his wheel back, so he won't be racing tonight. Adam 4600 is next in line in 14 points. Temp Fear scored 11 points from his reserve viewing last week. Dex Zidrum is also on 11 points. M1989 Woolhouse rounds out the grid, or the standings, on 8 points. And the way the points work is for the sprint race. Finish first there, you score 15 points. Finish second, you get 12. Third, you get 10, and then it goes down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The drivers who finished in the top 3 in the sprint race are not allowed to qualify for the feature race. They have to start from the back of the grid just to spice things up a little bit. So, James, how are we getting on with the drivers?
Yeah, the drivers are all there, all but one. We have MLTD. Pretty much it's so awkward you can't really pronounce it, but we call him Dot.
Dot.
He doesn't appear to be showing up, but we do have Over Dyking waiting in the wings. Would we start this session and then go with it, or shall we? It's already 7 minutes past 8.
I would say if Dot isn't available, send Over Dyking a message, nice. And invite and we'll get going. Otherwise, he'll just bug me all the way through the broadcast. Okay, so I'll quickly mention again the question of the day. And as I mentioned, it's a bit of a two-part question. So if you think you want to have a guess at the answer of this, just mention it in the YouTube comments. I will try and keep an eye on YouTube. So question of the day is, when was the first race at Donington Park? And the second part to the question is, on the Donington Park logo, why does it say Donington Park, the heart of British motorsport?
Beats me. But we will find out. I'm sure we'll find out. It'll be something pretty obvious, and I'll end up kicking myself.
Is it going to beat your achy breaky heart?
I felt like I was going to have an achy breaky heart today when I was driving in the snow and I was locking up left, right and centre. But luckily I managed to not destroy the car, which was nice. As we just head to track, I have received a message from Dot saying apologies. So unfortunately, it's way past the turning up time.
Well, James, I'll let you have a think about that one on what to do. And I've just realised as well that in my mad rush of playing about with YouTube, I haven't made myself a drink. So, James, I'm going to leave the... I know, so I need to go and make one. We are in a warm-up session at the moment, obviously, with the sprint race. There isn't any qualifying. It is a random grid, but we give the drivers a 5-minute warm-up session to get their setups on their car, to go out, do a little bit of a shakedown, and just make sure that everything's all right. So, James, I'm just going to keep the camera on one of the drivers. Who should we go for? Let's see, Michelin Man. Well, I'm going to go for Michelin Man. He's leading the way at the moment. Yeah. He's just leaving the pits now, so I'll leave the camera on him for a moment while I quickly make sure I've got some refreshments that will last me throughout this broadcast.
Yeah, so once again there, unfortunately, we've got a driver that's turned up, but unfortunately it's 10 minutes too late. Now, we obviously need to keep to a schedule. And as it would be in any sort of motorsport, if you turn up too late, unfortunately, you either get a penalty or you get disqualified. And when we've got drivers waiting and ready to go, unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. We'll see how we get on with the sprint races. Michelin Man is now heading towards the back straight, heading towards the final chicane, which is the bane of my life, seeing as when you see them very, very... massive red sausage curbs, but he's managed to negotiate that final turn very nice as he opens up for a flying lap. So let's see how he gets on down towards turn 1 with the DRS wide open. We've got a car on the outside of the corner. Hopefully that's not putting him off too much as he runs through turn 1. Now we're heading downhill to a very, very lovely section. Plenty of downforce on the cars to be able to cope with the changing speeds as we head through a very, very fast right-hander, which I am pretty sure I've seen Nigel Mansell fly through, and even he couldn't hold on to it. Now, heading up, don't want to run too wide through this corner. There's a lovely gravel trap just waiting to suck you off, and yeah, not in a nice way. So, up the top of the hill, once again, do not want to run out wide, and onto the back straight. This is laps looking very, very tidy for Michelin Man. I wonder if even though we're not really in a qualifying session, this is just a 5-minute warm-up. He's looking very, very confident and relaxed as always. Heading over the line, I'm pretty sure this will be a very, very sweet lap. And he goes P2. I will just check. Casely is P1, and it is literally 2 tenths between them. This is the first time, even though this is not a qualifying session, that we've seen Michelin Man in a practice session not being the quickest driver. So Michelin Man may have his work cut out, as I think we've seen there. Maybe that's Adam 4600 in front, getting out of the way of Michelin Man, who's driving off the circuit. And yeah, the crowd looking very animated in the background.
Okay, James, I'm back with you. I just want to quickly ask, nice. Have you mentioned anything about the liveries for this week?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that actually. All due to last week's kerfuffles and me obviously, I can't really cope with all the cars looking with the same livery. I get a bit mixed up. I have messaged the drivers and they've all managed to choose each an individual livery. I believe the only one that won't be what have been informed would have been over Donington, because I think DP spotted something that's made him almost Billy's cup of coffee. Thankfully,
I wasn't holding it. I just jumped on board with Casely and saw a car in the background having a major off just after the old hairpin. But yeah, I mean, with the liveries, as you said, all the cars or some cars with similar liveries does get quite confusing. So yeah, you asked all the drivers to pick a livery, which they have done. They'll just have to make sure that for the feature race, they're going to make sure that it's given them the correct livery again. But there are going to be the odd occasion where drivers aren't going to be able to pick a livery, as GBM Vectra has a big off just after the final corner, and that's because drivers that haven't got the DLC pack, they're not going to be able to pick particular liveries. I'll tell you what, it was Hesselden that I saw having the big off just after the old hairpin earlier on. But the warm-up session is over. So, James, the sprint race, and something we're going to have to try and remember is last week the race went so quick, we missed Dave the Harp crossing the line in the lead, so we're going to have to try and keep an eye on that. The Donington Park circuit is a little bit longer than the Silverstone National circuit that we used last week.
We say it's longer, but it's only 1 second quicker than
Focus
last
on the
week.
lights,
So once again, get ready for retiring as the lights go out.
Oh, press the wrong one. Oh, hopefully I didn't put anybody off there. But the action is underway, and this is what we're on about.
Mental.
It is.
10 wide. Michelin man just managing to keep out of the way of a lot of drama. As down towards down at the front, it's Dexter out in front, followed by GBM Oldman in P2. Temp Fear's up to P3. Hesselden's in P4. GT Gavin's in P5, doing a very good job with Caseley in P6, and then Michelin Man, Caseley's nemesis, in P7, that's been hounded by Dave the Harp in P8.
So it's getting very, very busy around P5. Michelin Man, if the camera changes, we'll see more of it. Hesselden taking...
GT Gavin!
Yep, they're going to drop quite far down the field, and that's going to happen quite quickly. I mean, this is a circuit... Oh, got 3 wide now. Dave the Harp been passed by Overdijking and Woolhouse. And there's a lot of action going off at the final chicane as Caseley. We've got a few cars with power boost penalties. One of them's 10 feet. Is he going to get hit? Yes, he is, and that's going to be into the pit wall. Is he going to be able to get into the pit? It's another car coming towards the pit lane as well. Oh, a lot of action kicking off on this opening lap. Overdijking and Woolhouse battling around turn 1.
Woolhouse just made his way into P4 in front of Overdijking there. A bit hard to work out as they both got similar liveries. As GBM Oldman now is in the lead, Dexter has been taken for the lead, and Dexter is down 2 seconds. But Michelin Man once again trying to mince his way through the field, and he's in P3.
You're right, Michelin Man not wasting any time in trying to get into those podium positions, and I tell you what, he's actually fighting for second place as he takes the inside line. Oh,
there's a bit of debris on circuit. Hopefully just missed that.
I think Michelin Man may have just clipped it, but he won't care because he's got himself into second place now. But I mean, one of the things with the sprint...
Adam 4600 up the inside of the last chicane on Overdijking. Overdijking has overcooked it as well, and Caseley is on his way through.
I was about to say the sprint races tend to give a lot of action, and that's exactly what's happening here. And with it being such a short race, there's not a lot of time for drivers to be able to respond and react and be able to actually sort of recover after any particular major incidents. Now up at the front, Michelin Man is about to attack GBM Oldman for the lead of this race. Here he goes, trying round the outside towards McLean's. Not quite able to do it though.
Opening up the exit, Oldman, he's got a car in front of him that looks to have a lot of damage. But he's way out of the way. But Michelin Man's got a lovely exit now out of the... onto the back straight. And Oldman, is he going to defend this? Is he going to leave the door open? He's going defensive.
This might work for Michelin Man on the exit of this particular corner. There we go, the switchback. There's a beautiful move. He's got the move done, got it done. That's a fantastic bit of driving from Michelin Man there. He'll be wondering now where Caseley is, and potentially where Dave the Harp is as well, because they're kind of his main title rivals at the moment. Caseley's running in 5th.
Dave the Harp's all the way down in P12. He's not picking up points so far. We've got 4 laps remaining.
Yep. I think Temp Fear was the car you saw with lots of damage. I'm not surprised he got major damage after that collision a little earlier on that ended up with him hit into the pit wall. It'd have been better off if it had sent him into the actual pits.
Woolhouse looks to be under attack now from Caseley for P4, but Caseley, does he want to get higher up and then not qualify? But in a way, you can't. How the hell did Woolhouse hold on to that? I do not know. But Caseley, which way does he go? Does he want the points? I think he's going to get an extra position here. Yeah, he's just taken Dex down the back straight, and Dex looked to have a big power boost penalty there.
Yeah, Dex must have had a problem at Coppice. And I tell you what, is that GT Gavin? No, it's
No,
GBM
that's
Oldman. That's Oldman. So
Yeah.
Oldman's had a bit of a mare. So Caseley's now in a fight for second place. And really, that's exactly where he'd want to try and finish. We're already only down to 3 laps left. And here we go then. Going around Hollywood. Caseley on the inside. It'll become the outside. Going down the Crane of Curves. He's already ahead. Now he's got to get ready for the old hairpin and hope that Woolhouse doesn't go for a diving move, which he hasn't. But Woolhouse has got Oldman right behind him trying to give him some grief.
Yeah, Oldman's really been impressing this season. In his first race of the season, he did look to be a little bit crash bang wallop, but his pace has been absolutely brilliant as Caseley looks like he's coming up to a back marker, but Michelin Man is gone.
I tell you what, I don't think it's crash bang wallop. I think it's more grash bang move. He's under attack though. He's under attack. That's Dexter Drum. He's trying to give it back, heading down towards the S's at the... Oh! I think Tempfear was just ahead of Caseley. That's had a big off there. I was looking away from the screen and just saw him spinning. Yes, it is Tempfear. So that's him a lap down, unfortunately, or 2 laps down now. And you might be right, James, that Michelin Man has absolutely disappeared, and he kind of needs to do that. He can't afford to give Caseley a sniff of any possible chance of anything other than second place here. But GBM Oldman, he's still trying to fight Woolhouse, and Woolhouse is kind of finding himself in a bit of an unusual situation, sitting in 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's doing a stellar job to keep Oldman behind. But I have noticed, even though Woolhouse's pace has not been the fastest, as is slightly offline there, what he is very, very good at is his racecraft.
Well, the thing is, though, for GBM Oldman, he's in a bit of an interesting situation here, in that, yes, okay... Oh,
Dex. Yeah, that's the interesting situation. If he don't get a move on, he might get spat off by Dex.
Well, actually, that's not what I was going to say. The interesting situation is for GBM Oldman, does he want to overtake? Because he's under attack. I was going to say, does he want to overtake Woolhouse? Because if he does, he doesn't get to qualify for the feature race. He'd have to start at the back. So finishing 4th in the sprint race actually isn't that bad of an idea. And he might not even mind Dexter Drum trying to get past him as they head down the Crane of Curves towards the old hairpin, but GBM Oldman has fended him off. Trying to have a quick look at where Michelin Man is. He is on to the Dunlop straight. So I'm going to stay on him for a moment because he's not far away from finishing this race.
Yeah, no, it's been an absolutely stellar performance, and a lot of drivers will be absolutely shocked that Michelin Man once again is just able to dominate, absolutely fly through the field, and once again, here we go over the line, another win.
Yep, it is. It's another victory for Michelin Man. Caseley, he'll be very, very happy with the 2nd place finish that he is about to get. And then we've got
This might give Dex a run over the line. I think Dex may just have this over Oldman. Yes, he has. Just over the line.
I don't know, because the line's just there.
Yeah, Oldman just jumped back in front.
Well, the frustrating thing about Donington Park is that there's a red line across the track, and that's the finish line. It's not just as you come out the final corners, but a very interesting finish there. I mean, Woolhouse, though, what a fantastic result. 3rd place for him. I think that might actually be his best ever result in a ProjectCARS Front Row Racing event. So yeah, very well done to him. I'm going to have to wait until the event is actually completed before I can confirm the whole grid. However, what an interesting race that was for some, and for others, a very, very frustrating one.
So yeah, as I just shoot out as I'm setting up lobby 2, I'll run through the screenshot that I had as we went over the line.
So I can go through that, James. You're all right. We've got Michelin Man 1st, Caseley 2nd, Woolhouse 3rd, GBM Oldman 4th, Dexter Drum 5th, GT Gavin 6th, Over Dyking 7th, Adam 4600 8th, GBM Vectra 9th, Dave the Harp 10th, Jason 11th, Kulakutu 12th, Tempfear 13th, and I think we lost a driver in that race as well, unfortunately.
Well, it's all time to make amends as we head towards the feature race. Hopefully the drivers such as Dave the Harp, who absolutely had a shocker, will be able to maybe get a very high qualifying position and be able to run away and hope that the chasing pack do not catch them.
Yep. Now, just to let everybody know, what's going to be happening now is James is going to be setting up a new lobby so we can put some tyre wear on the cars for the feature race. So while he's doing that, and James, if you can let me know when you've sent me an invite so I can join. So when James has done that, I'll go and join him, and then we'll get the rest of the drivers in the lobby with him, with us, and we'll go back to the circuit for a qualifying session, 5-minute warm-up, and then onto the feature race. And I tell you what, if the feature race is anything like that it's going to be interesting to say the least. I mean, this circuit is one of those, it looks so easy to drive around, but actually when it comes to having a battle with people, it's so easy to get it wrong, and if you do get it wrong, you get punished heavily, either by deep gravel traps, long patches of grass to a wall, or another car in the way. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see how that goes.
Right, so as the drivers and use an invite, hopefully we will get this feature race underway as quick as possible. But absolutely frantic.
Okay, have you sent me an invite, James?
There is one just on its way now.
Okay. Thank you very much. I shall come and join you in just a moment. There we go. We'll quickly go through the question of the day again. So if anyone wants to have a quick guess or attempt at the answer of this, you're more than welcome to. Question of the day: the first race at Donington Park. Quite a simple question, really. Don't Google it. Just have a random guess. Let's see how knowledgeable you are. Although, admittedly, I did Google it, but I had to make sure I got the answer right.
I've just received a comment from Dave the Harp. I don't know if this is a sarcastic comment, but yeah, he's just said, "We want a restart." I think that needs to be changed to "I want a restart," as that was an absolutely shocking start to his feature race at Donny, as we now get the rest of the drivers in. And unfortunately, like I said, with us starting at about 8 minutes past 8, unfortunately the drivers should know to be here and be ready as soon as the first invites are sent. So we will carry on with Overdyking in place of MLTDO dot for the remainder of this session.
Okay, so as we wait for the drivers to come and join us in this lobby, obviously the points that have just been scored by the drivers, they'll get added on to the current driver standings. And if you do want to check out the current driver standings, they are on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel, and also I did post them in the top comment in the chat. I'll try and do that again now. I'll see if I can copy. Oh, hang on, no, I've decided to accidentally click on the link, but there is a no, it's not going to let me copy and paste it, unfortunately. A bit of a shame now. But yeah, there is. I'm going to try and do videos of the standings so that for anyone that's watching the broadcast and wants to have a go and have a quick look at what the current standings are, they can just nip onto the Front Row Racing YouTube channel and check out the video that is there. I will have another look as well at getting the link onto the actual description. It's not something I've tried doing before, so I will try and do that. But once the results do get finalised on Tuesday, I'll make a new video which will have obviously the results from the first 3 rounds. Okay, James, while you're inviting the drivers in, what are the challenges for them now as we get ready to head over for the feature race? Obviously, go from no tyre wear to 2 times tyre wear, but what are the difficulties or obstacles stand in their way, should we say?
Well, we have worked out that during this week, if you try and do your fuel down about halfway and then pit and put on a new set of tyres and refuel, you will go quicker by about half a second per lap. However, if you make a mistake, you're going to be miles behind after coming out of the pit lane. It's whether you've got the setup enabled to unlock that performance consistently. If you have a setup that is very much on the edge, unfortunately, I don't think it's worth going for a setup with half fuel. Now, but then again, Michelin Man, in the first 2 rounds of this season, and once again the first feature race, he has absolutely just ran away with it, and somebody needs to put a stop to it, because we're going to end up with a runaway season at this point.
Yeah, well, no, Casey is trying everything in his power to put a stop to it. I mean, one of the things he has been struggling with for the last week and a bit is his wheels not been working properly. I do believe he's actually sent it back to Thrustmasters, and he's had to borrow his little brother's wheel, or it might even be his older brother's wheel, but he's had to borrow his brother's wheel so that he can keep up the fight for the ProjectCARS title, and also to keep up the fight in the Front Row Racing World Championship on F1 2016. So he's given it a try, but not only that, I mean, Dave the Harp, he's a previous champion, and he's given it his best as well. I mean, he has got a sprint race win under his belt, and he has been scoring decent points. I mean, he was able to jump Casey by 1 point in the standings after last week's races. So if he can I think Dave needs to bag a decent result in the feature race now, but if he can finish sort of third in the feature race, or even take a victory if he can qualify well, suddenly he puts himself right back in the mix again. Because I've got a feeling that although at Monza, Michelin Man and Casey were able to work their way through the field quite nicely, I've got a feeling that this Donington Park circuit is going to be a little bit more difficult for them to do it.
Yeah, definitely. But unfortunately, with Dave the Harp having such a poor start to the feature race, it's going to need a miracle. He's going to need either Casey and Michelin Man to have a bit of a tangle and end up way out of the points, because unfortunately, I don't see him coming out of this event still in P2 in the championships.
Okay, James, can I just check? I've just seen it says that ABS is on.
Yes, it's the only thing that is not allowed for these drivers is the stability control, which we put in place so people wasn't taking the Michael with the DRS wing. Now, ABS is on, as I did before I made the choice to not use it. I decided to use a pad, and if anybody has tried a pad with this game and takes ABS off, you may as well forget it. So unfortunately, I put it on just for the pad users. But yeah, hopefully for the future, the ProjectCARS 2 will make it so that you can still be gentle on the brake and brake without locking up and sliding off.
Yep. Okay, is it time to send the drivers over to the circuit?
Yes, it is. 4, 3.
And that was me reminding James that he needs to send everybody to the circuit. Okay, so we're getting ready then for the feature race here at Donington Park. Obviously, we've got a 10-minute qualifying session now, which Michelin Man, Casey and Woolhouse, hopefully Woolhouse is aware, James, that he's not allowed to qualify. Basically, the top 3 from the sprint race, they're not allowed to qualify in the feature race. They have to start from the back to mix things up a little bit. And it is something that both Michelin Man and Casey have both said they actually like that. It does add a challenge for it. So we'll see how those guys get on. And I mean, if Woolhouse is there at the back with them, you never know, they could follow him and he might do a bit of a parting of the seas ahead of them. But you never know. However,
yeah. If anybody was smart, they'd see, right, Michelin Man, he can fly through the field. I'm just going to stick right behind him, and whatever he does, I'm going to follow him through.
Yeah. Now, I was slightly mistaken earlier when I said 38 laps for the feature race. It isn't 38 laps, it's 28 laps, and this is where James goes, oh, I've put it on 38 laps.
No.
That's all right then.
I hope I am.
Good. It's all right, I just can't, while I've got YouTube open on my phone, I can't also see the pictures I've got, unfortunately. However, this is taking a little time to load, so hopefully we're not having any issues here. We'll see how it goes. But
if we do have an issue, we will restart as soon as possible.
Yes, we may have to. Well, we'll see what happens. It does just seems to be taking a little time to load. I'll quickly mention the question of the day again. It's a nice and simple one. When was the first race at Donington Park? Now, James, you said 70s, and I said it's not 70s. Do you want to have another go?
60s?
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
I'll probably say 50s. Mid-50s. 55 I'll go with.
Okay, so you're going with 55. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Now, we are still on the loading screen.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this is something I haven't seen from ProjectCARS for a long, long time. It did used to do this in the very early days, unfortunately, and there's not a lot we can do at the moment other than wait. Give it a few moments before James decides to jump out and set up another lobby. One of the things I don't want to have to do, if possible, is for me needing to quit out of the game, because as soon as I do that, it takes the live stream down, unfortunately. So rather than having two videos, I would like to try and keep it to one. So we'll just hang on a few moments.
What I will decide to do is I will try and restart, and hopefully, let's see if with me being the host, it may kickstart it into the session. And then you will just have to, unfortunately, if the viewers will have to say blue screen as you hopefully try and invite me in. But failing that, unfortunately, we're going to be here all day otherwise. So I will try and close it and be back in, have it up and running as soon as possible.
Well, we'll see what happens when James jumps out of a window. I mean, I've got a feeling it'll make no difference whatsoever, personally. But there we go. I'm going to try and not rant about the joys of ProjectCARS. I mean, it is nice to have a good rant now and again, but we're at Donington Park. It is my home track, so I'm going to try not to do that, because we are advertising the Donington Park circuit at the moment. And I mentioned as well there is a second part to the question of the day, which is, why on the Donington Park logo does it say the heart of British motorsport? To which James says, I ain't got a clue. Well, I think it's quite interesting because it is kind of tied into the original question of the day. Now, James, it hasn't loaded through to the circuit, so you're going to have to... I think we're going to have to set up a new lobby, and it looks like I may have to jump out of the game, which is going to be really annoying because it is going to close down the live stream, and we will have to fire it up again. Apologies for this, folks. Obviously, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. If ProjectCARS just decides to sit on a loading screen for a while, there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. Now, there have been a few guesses come through on the date. We've had 1958, 1959, 1928. Some interesting guesses there, but when we get the next live stream up and running, we will go through the question of the day again. So, James, if you want to get another lobby set up, I'll bring this broadcast to an end. You can join us for what will be titled Part 2 of Round 3 in a few moments' time.